Hi, and welcome to the first video post for the Jazz Master Journal. My name is Jeremy. I'm here in my home studio in Charleston, South Carolina. And today's first lesson is going to be about some ways that you can begin playing up the neck of the guitar. It's an important step in every player's development to go from playing your basic open chords down here in this position, like G, C, and D, to playing some more interesting inversions and chord fragments up the neck. And so today that's what we're going to focus on. We'll start with just a little bit of theory to get you guys going. Every major chord consists of the first, third, and fifth degrees of the major scale. Let's look back at a G chord. So in this position, a G major chord is going to have the first, third, fifth, first, fifth, first. What exactly am I talking about there? Let's look at the first 5 notes of the G major scale. You have G, A, B, C, and D. If we leave out the second and fourth notes, we're left with G, B, D. And if we're just talking about numerically the degrees of the scale, 1, 3, 5. Okay, so with that in mind, let's play another chord shape for a G major. If you know your basic F chord, you can slide that up 2 frets to the 3rd fret. And if you play the bottom 3 strings, you're still going to have a G major. Compare that to this G chord. It still has the notes of the G chord, but it has a slightly different tonal quality. Let's compare those one more time. We can go up to the next G major position, which would be at the 7th fret. This time we'll only be playing the bottom 3 strings. And it sounds like this. It's taking the chord shape of a D major, basically sliding that up to the 7th fret, but without playing the open D note. We're just going to play those bottom 3 strings. So let's go from the 3rd fret F shape to the 7th fret D shape. Now all 3 of the G chords that we've played so far are G major, but you can hear that upward movement, which makes it interesting. It can break up the monotony of staying on one chord for a long time in a progression. So say you're in a band with 2 guitars. Usually it's the guitarist with the better voice that's going to be playing these types of chords, while someone like myself would have to be playing chords like this. We can continue with this idea. The next chord shape for G, using these upper register fragments, I guess that's the right term, is going to be at the 10th fret. If you're familiar at all with bar chords up the neck, and you know this A-shaped bar chord, you can play that at the 10th fret, and that'll also be a G major. If you only play the bottom 3 notes of this chord, with the pointer finger on the high E string at the 10th fret, and then these other 2 fingers, we can use whatever fingering is most comfortable. But put those at the 12th fret on the B and G strings, and you're left with that fragment. So far we already have 4 different places we can play G major now. Your basic open chord, the F shape, the D shape, and this fragment from an A-shaped bar chord. Now, one note that I like to do on the 7th fret D shape is, instead of fingering it just like an open D chord, I'm going to play the same notes, but I'm going to bar the bottom 3 strings with my pointer finger and then play this note on the B string with my middle finger. It limits the amount of shifting your fingers you have to do as you're going up and down the neck. It's just a lot easier to kind of anchor your pointer finger on the first fret for every fragment. It's easier than having to play this whole D chord shape. Go there. You can just kind of minimizes the movement of your pointer finger. Let's look at another example of using these fragments. If you started on the 7th fret, every time you make a 12 fret jump, that's going to be an octave. So you could take this G major chord on the 3rd fret, go all the way up to the 15th fret, and you're going to have the 2nd octave of that chord. Well, we were using this F shape. Let's slide that all the way up to the 15th fret. That makes sense. So if we go all the way up the neck with the positions we've used, we have G, 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 and G. Alright, well that is an introduction to chord fragments, and I hope you'll tune in for the next time. We'll have lots more to cover.